Howdy once again, it's tubalcain, and welcome to episode number 27B of my What Is It series of mystery items. And I changed the name from Mystery Tools to Mystery Items. And be sure and go back and watch 27A if you have not seen it. This has been one of my more popular videos in this series. So we got 5 items to disclose here, and thank you for the wonderful answers. Some were very funny, some were correct, and most were incorrect. But on item 1 here, this is a fuel injector made by Bosch in Germany. And there's the number on it if it means anything to anyone. And I'm sure it was used on a larger diesel engine, but I'm not sure what kind of engine. And I guess that's the input, and maybe this is a return, and that bolts it down into the engine, and the fuel comes out of the tip here, and the holes are so tiny that you cannot see them with the naked eye. And when I worked at Caterpillar, the tiny little holes in the end of the nozzles were put in by an EDM machine with tiny wires, and some had one and some had more than one hole in it. I'm talking too much about this, I know, but it was so interesting. And they would then, the tip was off of here, and they'd put it over a camera to make sure that the holes were truly in there, and then they could size them by forcing a slurry of abrasive through them until they got the right flow. So that was rather amazing. But let me show you how small these holes are. I'm sure I've shown this tiny little drill index in other videos, and it's number drills from 60 to 80. See how tiny they are? And I've taken out the number 80, and let's see how many thousandths that is. It's what, about 13.5 thousandths, and it fits pretty well into the hole on the end of the injector. I suppose that, and there's 2 holes in the end. And it's probably smaller than 13 thousandths, but I didn't have a piece of wire small enough to stick in there. And of course, when the fuel comes out of there, it comes out as a spray. And I guess you all understand the principles of a diesel engine, so I'm not going to talk about that. And I've talked too much about this. It's a Bosch diesel injector. Item 2 is a Lixie multi-purpose silicon bronze hammer, and they made them apparently in 2 sizes, and I've got brass down, but actually it's bronze. It would not be nearly as hard as one of the beryllium copper hammers, which are so poisonous. And now I'm going to start using this. I never did know what it was. I'm going to keep it on the bench. It's a beautiful little hammer with a hickory handle, and it would be non-sparking as well, although I have no particular need for non-sparking. But that's going to be on or near my bench from now on. And they did have a website, and I know that a lot of people are looking these up, and that's fine to get the answer. And be sure and go through the hundreds of comments. There were an awful lot of comments in this video. Some are very entertaining and informative. Some are totally bogus and wrong. This is item 3, and given to me by Marvin Weber, and I showed one of the other gauges in another video, and here's yet a third railroad gauge that is shown in another video where I de-rusted, and I'm not going to talk about that one, but the one that was in this video is a Pratt & Whitney number 700, and you can see this is 15/16 and half, and the purpose of this one is to check for wheel defects, worn coupler limit, worn journal collar, and journal fillet gauge. So there are several different gauges on here for those purposes. Thank you, Marvin. Item 4 is a chain breaker, and the purpose of this is to remove the pins from roller chain, like bicycle chain, only this is, of course, for larger chain. These came in several sizes. It'll press the pin out. And I can't find the manufacturer on this. And I don't know, this is probably one of the medium-sized ones. And you've probably seen smaller ones like this that are used for bicycle chain. One of these would exceed the price of the bicycle, so you're going to use a cheaper one on a bicycle. So this would be more industrial or on the farm or something of that nature. Chain breaker. And finally, the item you've been waiting for, and again, this is from Victor Shevlesky, and he's from Russia, and he made several comments. You can read down through the comments, and he'll probably make more after this. Again, he bought this at a flea market and sent it to me all the way from Russia at his expense. And what is it? It is, and there's several names for it apparently, but some say it's an engineering indicator, or it's an indicator that's used with diesel engines to show the pressure in the cylinders and to tune it and adjust it and see the condition of the engine. Large diesel engines like you might find in marine applications or maybe powerhouses or something like that. Not for diesel Mercedes-Benzes or anything like that. And it's from Metal Worker. And a lot of you looked this up. And DDR, I finally found out, stands for, let me look at it here, the Deutsche Democratic Republic. So that was made after the World War II, but it ended up in Russia somehow or another. It must have been a terribly expensive instrument. This particular one is not made for steam engines, but there were similar ones. They probably looked like something like this. I think Cosby was the main one that would analyze steam engines, but this is newer than that. Must have been, again, an expensive item. It's so intricate. This is all brass, but it's nickel plated. And I guess that this attaches some way to a port in the engine. And you can read up on this. Look through the comments and you're going to find all kinds of links telling you where to go and read about it. Some of it's in German, but Google will translate that for you. There's different springs here that go on the top, I suppose, depending on the size of the engine. But I've wrapped a little piece of paper around here, and that came in this pad, and it's carbon paper. I may have that piece in there backwards, I don't know. But it will draw a little graph, I guess, of the performance or the pressure that the cylinders or the pistons are putting out. So look, if you like this, if you're interested, and apparently many of you are, go ahead and read some of the information on that. And if you look up this particular one, and there's the link, but if you go through the comments, you can find these long links and just click on them. But there's books by John Walter called The Engineering Indicator, and there's 4 books on there, and you can read them even without buying them. And Henry Carr is the one that put that link on. Back to this now. Here's the little stylus with a point on it that goes up against that. And I suppose this goes, I don't want to force it, this goes up and down to draw that little graph. There's a rope and a pulley here, which I guess moves it around, rotates this as it's moving up and down. That's a Bakelite ring on there, I think. And someone said that this rod can be used, well, I guess it goes in there. And then there was something else for cleaning, and, well, just a lot more information if you want to look that up. But isn't that an amazing device? Thank you again, Vic. And for you guys with inquiring minds, again, be sure and look at these links. And I'll read you just a couple comments here. One man, Tim Atwood, said, "It's a graphing gauge to measure engine cylinder compression. The paper wraps around the cylinder and a stylus hangs from the string drawing on the rotating cylinder, and the different springs change the range of pressure that it measures." And another man said it's a low-speed indicator from Germany. So Hope you enjoyed this video. It went on a little bit longer than what I wanted it to, or my talk here. I'm droning on. And somebody criticized me recently and said, this guy sure likes to talk. Well, you know, some of these things require explanation. So anyway, watch my videos coming up. There'll be a lot more, and I've got 700 on already. This is tubalcain signing out, saying so long for now, and I'll see you in my next video.